Hi guys, Rebecca the Explorer here. Today is 11/12/2016. The time is 2:59 Eastern Standard Time. In front of me, I have a map of Google Earth. Yesterday's colors were in yellow and then brown and then green. These are the earthquakes for yesterday. And the yellow is the earthquakes for today. First, we're going to go to these areas. This starts last night. And I have done a little bit of changing here. I have made the numbers are only going to be the magnitudes or the kilometers of the depth of the earthquake from now on the screen, which makes it easier. And then I'm going to read the information for that area. Was a 2.1 at 21 kilometers in depth. Um, 45 kilometers west of Napier. Our next earthquake was a 1.9 at 100 kilometers in depth, and it was located 5 kilometers southwest of Tarongi. This earthquake was a 2.1 at 25 kilometers in depth, and it was located 30 kilometers northwest of Oahuhune. Oahuhune, sorry. We can take some looks here. Now, this one here is a backup for yesterday. This was yesterday, the 11th. So these earthquakes are ones that passed yesterday. So I'm just doing a brief over, and I'm going to start now with today's earthquakes. I'm going to remove the greens for yesterday. That way we can get a good view of today's earthquakes. Okay, our first earthquake for today was a 2.9 at 129 kilometers in depth. Our next earthquake was a 3.0 at 88 kilometers in depth. Which was near White Island. Next earthquake was a 1.7. And it was 9 kilometers in depth. There was also a 1.3 at the same location. Our next earthquake at that location was a 1.3 at 9 kilometers. Our next earthquake was a 2.4. And it was 10 kilometers in depth, 20 kilometers north of Tarongi. Our next earthquake was a 2.1. And it was 85 kilometers deep. And it was 20 kilometers southeast of Milford Sound. Our next earthquake was a 1.6. And it was 28 kilometers deep, and it was 15 kilometers east of Eketahunu. Our next earthquake was a 3.0. For some reason, this is not pulling up my information. There we go. Okay. It was a 3.0. It was 12 kilometers deep, and it was 35 kilometers north of Hanmer Springs. Hanmer Springs is a small town in the Canterbury region of South Island of New Zealand. The town is named after Thomas Hanmer, an owner of Hawkswood Station near Conway River, running during the 1950s. The locality was discovered for its hot springs by William Jones in early 1859. Access to the general area was provided by a bridge over the Waiau River in 1864, constructed by Mr. Handyslides of Nelson for, I don't know that amount of money, to a design of John Brackett. The bridge lasted only 10 years before it was blown over by a northwest wind. And this area. Quite mountainous. Our next earthquake was a 2.4. Depth of 9 kilometers, and it was 20 kilometers north of Tarongi. You can see it's still swarming in this area. Our next earthquake was a 2.4 with a depth of 10 kilometers, 20 kilometers north of Tarongi. Our next earthquake was a 1.4 with a depth of 101 kilometers, and it was 35 kilometers southeast of Taupo. And I was looking at some interesting areas down here. And it looks like a gas company. Maybe. I don't think that's milk. And I noticed in some of the areas where you can't land, it isn't milk. This might be horse, but I'm not sure. Our next earthquake was a 3.1. At 133 kilometers deep, 20 kilometers west of Wakatani. You can see some stuff is going on over here, but I don't know what it is. If I can't see very well, I'm not going to say something if that's not that. Next earthquake was a 1.9. This earthquake was 34 kilometers deep and 15 kilometers south of Waipakarua. And you see that is mostly farming community there, as far as I could tell. There is some mining up in this area. Our next earthquake was a 2.6. With a depth of 30 kilometers, and it was 35 kilometers southeast of Tolaga Bay. Our next earthquake was a 2.0. Yeah, just might doesn't mean what I need. Why? Oh. Okay. Our next earthquake was a 2. What the heck did he just do? Sorry. The next earthquake was a 2.3. Just beat my computer. With a depth of 10 kilometers, located 20 kilometers north of Tarongi. That can't be it. Next earthquake was a 2.6. At 7 kilometers deep, located 20 kilometers north of Tarongi. Our next earthquake was a 2.6, 7 kilometers deep, and it was located 15 kilometers southeast of White Island. Our next earthquake was a 2.1 at 9 kilometers deep, located 20 kilometers north of Tarongi. So what those are. I wish I did, but I don't. Next earthquake was a 2.5. Was 67 kilometers deep and 35 kilometers north of Nelson. The next earthquake was a 2.6 kilometers deep, 35 kilometers north of Tamaruni. You can look, there's stuff going on over in here. You can see they have things up on this one. In here. Mining, I don't know. Anyway, our next earthquake was a 2.3 at 18 kilometers in depth, 20 kilometers northeast of Pongaroa. Pongaroa. Next earthquake was a 1.9 at 35 kilometers in depth, 20 kilometers northeast of Waipakakura. Curiosity. Oh, oh wow. Look how there it is. Come on up. Next earthquake was a 2.9. Was at 40 kilometers in depth, 5 kilometers west of Huntersville. Huntersville is a small community on State Highway 1 in the Rangitikei district of North Island of New Zealand. It is located halfway between Taupo and Wellington and has a population of 429. The township was founded in 1884 by a merchant named George Hunter. It straddles the state highway as well as the main trunk railway of the foothills forming the gateway to the Central Plateau. Monument paying tribute to Hunaway dogs at Huntersville, New Zealand, Kiwi Burn, and New Zealand Burning Man Regional Burn have been held here since 2014. The closest airport or airfield to Huntersville is Ohaku Aerodrome, an important Air Force base, which is sited 33 kilometers to the southwest, 6 kilometers north of Huntersville and Vinegar Hill. The Huntersville Railway Station on the North Island Main Trunk Line opened in 1880 and closed in 1988. Huntersville is well known for its statue of the Hunaway, a specialized herding dog that uses its voice to drive sheep. The town festival and market held on the first Saturday of Labor Day has Shepherd's Schermazel, a race with man and dog with shepherds traveling from all over New Zealand to compete for the top prize. That's kind of cool. Let's get a nice look at this area. No, it's a little dark, sorry. Not where our earthquake struck is over there. So you can see the land it comes down around this way. Over here. Something going on there, I don't know what. Lake. And this is Huntersville here. Let's see if we can land in town for a minute. We can't. I don't know what it look like, but hey, sounds interesting. Hotel. That was where we got the earthquake. And it's raining. Cool. Our next earthquake was a 2.1. At 144 kilometers deep, 15 kilometers south of Taco. And it was in this area. Don't know what's going on over here. Looks like maybe a walk around area. Let's see. Hello? Oh, okay. An animal? Maybe trash or something. Or rocks. Kind of looks like when you look at Yellowstone, they have all the walk areas that go around. Next earthquake was a 2.4. "62 kilometers in depth, 15 kilometers northeast of Marapara." This is water. There's water here. And then there's the Pullman over here. You can see something there. And there. Next earthquake was a 1.4. 15 kilometers deep, 5 kilometers southwest of Seddon. I don't know what to think of this. This field. Hmm. It won't let me use my, just to look at it very close. Can I land on a road? Doesn't make any sense. Okay, well. This looks almost like, I don't know, that's weird looking. Next earthquake was a 1.0, 5 kilometers in depth. It was 15 kilometers north of Tarongi. Next earthquake was a 2.9. And it was 66 kilometers deep, 15 kilometers southeast of White Island. The last earthquake for this area was a 1.8, 15 kilometers in depth, 5 kilometers east of Seddon. Okay, and then I did some for Puerto Rico today, so this is to add on. I'm going to do a different video. Anyway, this has been our earthquakes for New Zealand for today and for yesterday. Hope you enjoyed. Thank you and have a nice day.